Hello everyone, my name is Laura. I'm the executive producer of With One Voice.
Hello everyone, my name is Tovey. I'm the creative producer at With One Voice.
With One Voice is a UK charity that works at the intersection of art and homelessness globally. To grow creative opportunities for people who are or have been homeless, With One Voice commissions and disseminates research, designs and delivers training, and connects people, projects and policymakers through exchanges. Consistent with our value of creativity, equity and openness, we are entirely co-produced with 50% of our board and staff people who are or have been homeless. When we talk to people about what we do, it's very important that we remember what homelessness means as well.
Yeah, and this is why people get mistaken all the time. You know, fundamentally, people think it's about that person sleeping on the streets. And don't get me wrong, that is really important, but that's only 2% of the overall problem. You know, there's so many different examples, you know, but I really want to talk about one major one, and it's the fact that around about 52% of people who are registered homeless in the UK are actually in full-time work, which means that, you know, we could be sat in a room right now with somebody who's actually homeless, who we're working with and not even knowing it.
Well, I think it would be really useful to talk about co-production and maybe give people a couple of examples why involving people equitably in creating art is a good idea.
Yeah, I think I totally understand that. As we know, arts and culture is a human right. It's Article 27 of the UNESCO Bill of Human Rights.
Yeah, not a lot of people know this, and I think the important bit of it is the access word in the article. So the access to art and culture is so important.
Yeah, and that means that every single person has the right to access. You know, so when we look at this, we have to then include every part of society, and homelessness is part of society, and it has to be included when putting on anything to do with culture.
I think it's not happening that much now because we operate with a model called the Maslowian pyramid of needs, right?
Yeah, totally. I think this is where we as an organisation and our model, our jigsaw of homeless support, really sort of like looks at that in a more holistic approach instead of it just being a top-down way of working, giving the highest need first. And obviously arts and culture in the Maslowian always gets like left out, it gets forgotten about.
I wonder if we can mention an example of art being part of homelessness provision or an art organization working with homeless people so that people can really imagine it.
Yeah, so if you look at people like Accumulate, you know, they work in, I think it's about 24 different hostels around London, working within homelessness, and they are linked with cultural organisations. They've worked in the Barbican, they've worked in the V&A, they've worked in the Tate, and you know, and looked at it in that sort of sense.
And I was also thinking about how art helps with homelessness policy. So in Manchester, art and provision for culture has been inserted in homelessness policy. So the city has committed to make space for arts as part of the policy of ending homelessness in the city. And we're also now working in Coventry in what's called our city plan, so that arts is part of homelessness policy, but also cultural spaces and organization work actively with people who have been homeless.
Yeah, totally. Nothing about us without us. Love it. You know, and obviously because of this, you know, that leads quite nicely on to us as an organisation, and with the way that we work in a co-produced way with 50% of our board and staff who are people who have been homeless, and that intrinsically is what we're working within the City of Culture in Coventry, with Manchester, And this is why, with the same groups that we're working with there, we've put together this practice guide.
And I think we get a lot the question about obviously why the arts, which I think we've provided a bit of explanation about, but we also get a lot the question about how do I start, and you know, people being in a way scared to start because they don't know where to start. So we've put this practice guide to give some clear steps and some questions that one can ask in order to understand what an arts and homelessness project could look like.
Yeah, and I think that brings it back to, you know, when looking at this, instead of looking at the bigger picture, look at the singular side of it. For example, I was homeless, I was on the streets, and for me, my life was saved one night by a person, but I always say that art saved my life, because you know, it gave me this access to be able to rebuild my life. It got me back on the straight and narrow. It got me, you know, got my artwork shown into galleries. You know, how many homeless people would get their work shown into Tate Modern? Like, do you know what I mean? But I really believe that it's given me a whole new life. It's given me my work. It's given me my job. It's given me my career. And I believe that everyone should have the right to that. You know, everyone can rebuild their life if they're given access to something which stimulates their mind. And that's what art does.